At the front of the building, Hank waited in the black van. Hank was a monkey too, but of a different sort. JT might have brought Carl instead, but Carl was smarter and JT didn't want any extra questions. Plus, all interactions with Carl had been electronic. JT had never seen his face, nor the other way around, and JT was hesitant to change that. The fewer people JT dealt with in person, the better. JT raised a hand, and Hank emerged excitedly from the van and slammed the door closed. "Watch the noise." "Sorry, boss," Hank said. He shouldered an oversized duffel that seemed mostly empty. Monkey. "You have what you need?" JT asked. Hank patted his bag and nodded. "Okay, it's your turn." Hank approached the warehouse's back door with its 4-digit entry lock. He, too, wore gloves as he pulled a crowbar from the duffel bag and worked the end of it into the narrow opening between the door and the jamb, rocking it up and down until it was wedged in far enough to begin to muscle it. The trim came off first with a loud snap as the thin metal broke away from the front of the building. Hank's hands slipped and he dropped the crowbar, which made a loud clattering sound on the pavement. It rang out like a bullet shot. "Jesus Christ." "Sorry," Hank muttered again. He removed a long pick-like tool and a rubber mallet from the back and created a dent in the metal door just above the knob until the latch was fully exposed. With the crowbar, he wrenched it open. Hank was built like a tank. It took all of 7 minutes before the door fell open. They stepped into the warehouse together, and Hank let the door close behind them. Softly. A first. The space smelled of old paper and lemon cleaner. The smell meant someone still cleaned the place, so their footprints would be harder to track. That was good news. The lights were off across the warehouse and the temperature cool, not the kind of place where someone was working, especially not at this hour. Skylights lined the wall almost at the ceiling, which meant someone might notice if they turned on the lights. JT pulled a flashlight out of the small side pocket of the backpack and flipped it on. "You got yours?" Hank found his flashlight, and the two of them scanned their lights across the inside. The warehouse space was small and lined with shelves where boxes were piled high. Police case files. Overflow. This was not the interesting part. That was in the far corner. "This way." Hank followed, finally quiet, as they crossed the warehouse to the last aisle, where a cage took up the far corner. JT stood back. Hank used his crowbar to open the locked gate in under a minute. The cage was lined with metal cabinets, some green, some gray, all old style and flimsy. The first took Hank approximately 15 seconds to jimmy open. Hank whistled at the contents, the shelves lined with semi-auto assault rifles, each tagged with a case number. "Load those up, and the other cabinets too," JT said. "We don't need all of them. You've got 4 minutes." Hank pulled 2 empty black duffels out from the one that carried his tools and dropped them on the floor. He opened the first and started loading guns. There was a more important task to be done while Hank stole the weapons. JT exited the cage and returned to the main area of the warehouse, using 20 precious seconds to scan the rows before deciding on the placement. The second row seemed the best, most out of the way. Against the wall, certainly, to allow Sam the best signal. JT chose a box from the second shelf, 2 down. With the box carefully set on the warehouse floor, JT loaded the larger of 2 computers from the backpack into the box. The computer was an inexpensive one, an Acer, purchased at Walmart while dressed in a business suit and leather gloves and scarf for the chilly day. And a wig. With cash. 3 months ago. 3 others were purchased under similar circumstances in case Sam needed them. A disposable cell phone and an independent battery source were strapped to the computer with Hello Kitty duct tape. Sam's idea of a joke. Sam had bought the tape himself. None of JT's prints would be on anything. Sam had been warned. JT had gone so far as to bring him a box